The betrayal. Commander Elena Way stood at the viewport of the diplomatic vessel Olive Branch, watching as the massive Draveri flagship emerged from hyperspace. For 30 years, humanity had played by the rules of the Galactic Confederacy. They had restrained their expansion, shared their medical knowledge, and respected the ancient protocols that had governed interstellar relations for millennia before Earth achieved faster-than-light travel. They had even accepted their designation as a developing species without complaint, despite knowing full well that their technology often surpassed that of their so-called superiors. "They're hailing us, Commander," Lieutenant Park said from his communication station. Emperor Kaz Thrall himself. We nodded, her face betraying none of the contempt she felt. The Draveri, a species of towering, six-limbed arthropods with an exoskeleton that shimmered with iridescent blues and greens, had ruled the largest empire in the sector for over 3,000 years. They considered themselves the inheritors of the galaxy, their divine right to rule unchallenged. "On screen," she ordered, straightening her midnight blue uniform. The United Earth Defense Force insignia, a shield emblazoned with Earth surrounded by 7 stars, gleamed on her chest. The massive face of Emperor Kaz Thrall filled the view screen, his compound eyes reflecting the light in a kaleidoscope of colors. Elaborate gold and platinum decorations adorned his carapace, and the ceremonial staff of subjugation rested in his primary limbs. Commander Way, the Emperor's voice translation system rendered his clicks and chittering into the flat tones of standard galactic. "I trust you bring Earth's response to our most generous offer." Way kept her expression neutral. "Indeed, Your Radiance. Earth has carefully considered your proposal that we surrender our outer colonies and tribute rights to the Draveri Empire." The Emperor's mandibles clicked in what the Draveri considered a smile. "Excellent. Your species shows wisdom in recognizing the inevitable." "The ceremony of submission can." Way raised her hand, cutting him off. A breach of protocol that caused the Emperor's attendants to hiss in outrage. "However, Earth's response is not what you anticipated. We respectfully decline and propose instead a mutual non-aggression pact and free trade agreement between our peoples." The Emperor's eyes darkened, a sign of anger. "You mistake your position, human. The Draveri do not negotiate with developing species. Your kind has been permitted to exist because we found your adaptability." Amusing. That amusement has reached its end. Way had expected this. The Draveri never negotiated. They demanded. "Then this meeting is concluded, Your Radiance. Earth will await your next communication through proper diplomatic channels." As the screen went dark, Lieutenant Park turned to her. "Commander, sensors are detecting energy buildups in the Draveri fleet. They're charging weapons." Weed nodded, unsurprised. "Retreat to the jump point. Standard protocol." The Olive Branch turned and accelerated away from the Draveri flagship. As a diplomatic vessel, it carried only minimal defensive capabilities, another concession to the Galactic Confederacy's regulations. The ship shuddered as the first volley of Draveri energy torpedoes struck its shields. "Shields at 60%. The tactical officer reported. "We can't take another hit like that." Way's mind raced through the contingencies. The Draveri were making a statement, a symbolic destruction of Earth's diplomatic presence. It was a common tactic they used against species they deemed unworthy of respect. Many civilizations had suffered such lessons over the millennia. "Emergency jump," she ordered. "Get us back to Earth space." The stars blurred as the Olive Branch tore through the fabric of space-time, escaping the Draveri's wrath. For now. 3 days later, Way stood in the cavernous war room beneath Geneva, Earth's diplomatic capital. The chamber was filled with the highest-ranking military and political leaders of United Earth. President Santiago's face was grave as he addressed the assembly. "The Draveri have attacked and destroyed Helios Prime colony." A stunned silence fell over the room. Helios Prime had been home to over 8 million civilians, scientists, farmers, families. It had been a showcase of human achievement, a self-sustaining colony with minimal environmental impact and groundbreaking research facilities. Admiral Cato, commander of the United Earth Defense Fleet, spoke first. Casualties. Total. Santiago answered, his voice hollow. They used a gravitic compression weapon. The entire planet has been reduced to a debris field. Wei felt the blood drain from her face. 8 million souls. Gone. The room erupted in outrage and grief. The Confederacy Council, someone asked, has expressed concern but taken no action. Santiago replied bitterly. The Draveri have justified the attack as a necessary correction for a species that refused to acknowledge its proper place in the galactic hierarchy. Admiral Cato exchanged a significant look with the president. It's time then. Santiago nodded solemnly. Commander Wei, what was your assessment of the Draveri forces you encountered? Wei straightened. 12 capital ships, approximately 30 support vessels. Their technology is advanced but stagnant. They've made few innovations in the past century, relying instead on their numerical superiority. And you believe they have no knowledge of Project Prometheus? None, sir. Our intelligence indicates they still believe Earth possesses only the limited defensive capabilities we've registered with the Confederacy. Santiago turned to the assembly. For 30 years, we've maintained the fiction that humanity's military capabilities are limited to what we've disclosed to the Galactic Registry. We've hidden our true strength behind a veil of compliance and deference. He activated a holographic display that filled the center of the room. It showed a massive fleet of ships unlike anything registered with the Confederacy, angular, predatory vessels with sleek lines and weapon systems that would make even the most advanced Confederacy powers pause. Project Prometheus. 300 capital ships and over 1,000 support vessels, built in secret throughout the Sol system and our inner colonies, powered by dark energy tap technology that our scientists developed 15 years ago, but never shared. The room was silent as the implications sank in. Earth had been preparing for this moment since first contact with the Confederacy revealed the true nature of galactic politics, not the peaceful federation of equals humanity had hoped for, but a hierarchical system where might made right and the strong dominated the weak. The Draveri believe they've taught us a lesson. Santiago continued. They expect us to come crawling back, begging for mercy and accepting their terms. Admiral Cato's voice was steel. Instead, we will teach them what happens when you awaken a sleeping giant. Santiago nodded. Commander Wei, you've had the most recent contact with the Draveri. You'll deliver our response. We stood straighter. What response shall I deliver, Mr. President? That humanity tried to be civilized, Santiago said, his eyes hard. We tried to play by their rules. We filed complaints through proper channels. We sought arbitration. We respected their customs and their hierarchies. He paused, looking around the room at the representatives of a united human race, faces from every continent, every ethnicity, united in grief and resolve. But no more. 8 million human beings are dead because we appeared weak. Tell Emperor Kaz Thrall that humanity extends one final diplomatic courtesy, a warning. In 24 hours, we will launch an offensive across Draveri space, and we will not stop until justice has been served. The Draveri throne world of Kaz-Thrall Prime glittered like a jewel set against the velvet backdrop of space. From orbit, one could see the sprawling hive cities that housed billions of the insectoid species, connected by transport tubes that formed intricate patterns across the planet's surface. Emperor Kaz-Thrall reclined on his crystalline throne in the Imperial Palace, the tallest structure on the planet. His chief military advisor, War Master Vexcon, approached with a deep bow. The humans have gone silent, Your Radiance. No communication since their diplomat fled our righteous fury. The Emperor's mandibles clicked in satisfaction. As expected. They cower in their worlds, realizing the futility of resistance. Prepare the annexation fleet. We shall claim their colonies one by one until they submit properly. It shall be done, Your Radiance, Vexcon replied. The fleet will be ready within He was interrupted by an urgent signal from the palace's communication center. A junior communication officer rushed in, forgetting protocol in his haste. Your Radiance, a single human vessel has entered the system and is approaching the planet. The Emperor's compound eyes flickered with amusement. So soon. They must be desperate indeed to send a surrender delegation already. It's not a diplomatic vessel, Your Radiance, the officer chittered nervously. It's unlike any human ship we've encountered before. The massive view screen in the throne room activated, showing a sleek, predatory vessel unlike the bulky, utilitarian human ships the Draveri were familiar with. This ship was angular and black, absorbing rather than reflecting light, with only the occasional blue glow of its propulsion system revealing its presence against the darkness of space. Magnify, ordered the Emperor. The image zoomed in on the ship's hull, revealing the United Earth Defense Force insignia. Earth surrounded by 7 stars on a shield, but next to it was another symbol, a stylized flame rising from ashes. They are hailing us, the communication officer reported. On screen, Kaz Thrall ordered, his curiosity piqued. Commander Elena Way appeared on the screen, still in her midnight blue uniform, but with a new insignia on her collar, the same flame symbol displayed on the ship's hull. Emperor Kaz Thrall, she began without preamble or deference. I am Commander Elena Way of the United Earth Defense Force. I come bearing Earth's response to your attack on Helios Prime. The Emperor's mandibles clicked in irritation at her lack of proper respect. Your species has been taught the consequences of defiance. If you've come to deliver Earth's surrender, I have not. Way interrupted, her face expressionless. I've come to deliver a warning. The Emperor's compound eyes flashed with rage. You dare. For 30 years, Wei continued as if he hadn't spoken. Humanity has respected the customs and laws of the Galactic Confederacy. We joined you in peace, shared our innovations, and abided by frameworks established millennia before we reached the stars. Her eyes hardened. In return, you mistook our civility for weakness and destroyed an unarmed colony of 8 million souls. You believed our disclosed military capabilities represented our true strength. This was a catastrophic error in judgment. Throughout the palace, alarms began to sound. War Master Vexcon rushed to a nearby console, his exoskeleton paling to a sickly blue. Your Radiance, he chittered frantically. Our long-range sensors are detecting multiple hyperspace distortions throughout Draveri space. Hundreds of them. What is happening? The Emperor demanded, rising from his throne. Commander Wei's expression remained impassive. We're happening. On the screen behind her, a tactical display appeared showing the Draveri Empire's territory. Dozens of points of light began to appear throughout their space. Human vessels emerging from hyperspace, near key Draveri military installations, colony worlds, and supply depots. Humanity tried to be civilized, Wei continued. We embraced your protocols and procedures. We filed complaints through proper channels. We sought arbitration when you encroached on our territories. We believed in the possibility of peaceful coexistence. More alarms sounded as the palace's sensors detected objects in orbit around Kaz Thrall Prime. But you chose to teach us a lesson. Wei's voice had taken on a deadly calm. Now, we will teach you one in return. The image on the screen shifted to show dozens of sleek, black human vessels appearing in orbit around the Draveri throne world, having somehow bypassed the planet's early warning systems completely. Impossible, War Master Vexcon exclaimed. Our sensor net is impenetrable. Apparently not, Wei replied. Consider this demonstration a courtesy, proof that we could strike at your heart if we wished. The Emperor's rage was visible now, his exoskeleton flushing the deep purple. This is an act of war. The Confederacy will do nothing. Wei finished for him. Just as they did nothing when you destroyed Helios Prime. The rules of the Confederacy protect the strong, not the just. You've taught us that lesson well. She leaned forward slightly. You have 24 hours to evacuate your military installations throughout your empire. After that, we will destroy them, one by one, until you agree to our terms. The Draveri Empire does not negotiate with lesser species, the Emperor roared. Then the Draveri Empire will fall, Wei replied simply. The choice is yours. The screen went dark, leaving the Emperor and his court in stunned silence. War Master Vexcon recovered first. Your Radiance, we must mobilize the Imperial fleet immediately. These humans must be taught their place once and for all. The Emperor's compound eyes narrowed as he considered the situation. Something about the humans' sudden reveal of superior technology and military capability didn't make sense. A species didn't hide such strength without purpose. What do our intelligence reports say about human military capabilities? He asked. They possess approximately 50 outdated capital ships and perhaps 200 support vessels. Vexcon replied confidently. Their weapons technology is at least a century behind ours. This display is clearly meant to intimidate us with false images. The Emperor wasn't convinced, and yet they penetrated our sensor network with ease. Dispatch a scout vessel to verify the human presence in our territory. As Vexcon rushed to comply, the Emperor sank back onto his throne, a sense of unease creeping through his exoskeleton. For the first time in his 300-year reign, Emperor Kaz Threll felt something he had never experienced before. Doubt. The humans had been hiding something all along. The question was, how much? Unleashing fury. Admiral Takeshi Kato stood on the command deck of the UES Nemesis, the flagship of Earth's hidden fleet. At 72 years old, his weathered face bore the lines of someone who had spent decades preparing for a day he hoped would never come. Around him, officers worked with practiced efficiency, their movements precise as they guided the massive warship through hyperspace. Fleet status, he ordered, his voice calm despite the gravity of the moment. Captain Maya Rodriguez, his second in command, responded immediately. All vessels report ready, Admiral. Task Force Alpha is in position near the Draveri military headquarters at Vexcon. Beta is approaching their shipyards at Morveth. Gamma stands ready to intercept any reinforcements from their core worlds. The Nemesis and its accompanying battle group were heading directly for Kaz Prime, not to attack, but to ensure the Draveri understood the seriousness of humanity's intentions. Kato nodded, studying the tactical display. 300 capital ships and over 1,000 support vessels, the full might of Project Prometheus. For 30 years, humanity had built this fleet in secret, constructing massive shipyards hidden in the asteroid belts of uninhabited systems and within the atmospheres of gas giants. Every ship was equipped with technology that humanity had deliberately kept hidden from the Galactic Confederacy. Communications from Commander Wei, sir, the comm officer reported. Wei's face appeared on the main screen. Admiral, the Emperor has received our message. As expected, he's dismissive. Their intelligence still believes we have only the fleet we've registered with the Confederacy. And their response? They're mobilizing their forces, sir. Long-range scans show their main battle fleet departing Kaz Prime, likely headed for Earth. Kato allowed himself a grim smile. Perfect. That leaves their homeworld with minimal defenses. Sir, Captain Rodriguez interjected, the 24-hour deadline passes in 30 minutes. Kato nodded. Begin final preparations. I want all weapon systems charged and targeting solutions locked in for every military installation in the target zones. Remember, we're striking military targets only. I want minimal civilian casualties. Yes, sir, Rodriguez replied, relaying the orders. Wei's expression remained calm on the screen. Admiral, there's something else. We've intercepted communications from the Confederacy Council. They're convening an emergency session to discuss the human aggression against the Draveri. Of course they are, Kaito replied with a snort. When the Draveri obliterated 8 million human lives, it was merely an internal matter. But when we prepare to defend ourselves, suddenly it's a crisis. Should we delay until after the council session? Kaito shook his head. No, we've played by their rules long enough. It's time they learned that humanity won't stand idly by while our people are slaughtered. The tactical display updated, showing the massive Draveri battle fleet moving away from their homeworld, their course clearly set for Earth. They had taken the bait, believing humanity's threats were empty and that a decisive show of force would crush human resistance once and for all. They're making the same mistake the Confederacy has made for 30 years, Kaido observed. They believe their own propaganda about developing species. They cannot conceive that we might have surpassed them. The chronometer counted down the final minutes until the deadline. All ships, this is Admiral Kaido. He broadcast to the entire human fleet. For 3 decades, we have prepared for this moment while praying it would never come. 8 million of our brothers and sisters on Helios Prime can no longer speak. We will be their voice. He paused, knowing that his next words would mark a turning point in human history. Commence Operation Righteous Fire. War Master Vexcon stood on the command deck of the Imperial Dreadnought Subjugator, the mightiest warship in the Draveri fleet. Around him, warrior caste Draveri worked diligently at their stations, preparing for the jump to the human home system. Your tactical assessment, he asked his chief strategist. The humans possess approximately 50 capital ships, mostly outdated designs, the strategist replied. Our fleet of 200 capital ships will overwhelm them quickly. Once their defense is broken, we can proceed with the subjugation of their colonies. Vexcon's mandibles clicked in satisfaction. The Emperor's wisdom is absolute. These humans needed to learn their place. A communication officer approached with a deep bow. War Master, we've received reports from our outposts in the outer territories. They claim to be under attack by human vessels. Vexcon dismissed this with a wave of his upper limb. Impossible. Their fleet is concentrated in their home system. These are merely sensor ghosts or perhaps a handful of raiders trying to distract us from our main thrust. But War Master, multiple outposts report the same. The officer's protest was cut short as the ship's emergency alarms blared. What now? Vexcon demanded. The chief sensor officer's voice trembled as he reported. War Master, we're detecting massive energy signatures throughout our territory. Hundreds of them. Consistent with weapons fire. The main tactical display updated, showing red alerts spreading across the Draveri Empire like a rapidly expanding disease. Military bases, shipyards, defense platforms, all reporting simultaneous attacks. This is impossible. Vexcon rage. The humans don't have the capability for such a coordinated assault. Another officer approached, his exoskeleton pale with fear. War Master, we've lost contact with the Morveth shipyards. Last transmission reported multiple unknown warships firing on the facility. The tactical officer interrupted. Sir, visual confirmation coming in from Outposts Z12. The main screen flickered to life, showing grainy footage from a Draveri outpost. What Vexcon saw made his blood run cold. A sleek, angular vessel of unmistakably human design was firing unusual blue-white energy beams that cut through Draveri defenses as if they were made of paper. The station's shields, which should have held against such an assault for hours, collapsed in seconds. What weapon is that? He demanded. The weapons analyst studied the footage, his compound eyes wide. Unknown, War Master. It appears to be some form of focused dark energy weapon. The theory exists, but no species has successfully weaponized dark energy. Vexcon's mind raced. If the humans possessed such technology, and in such numbers, all ships, emergency recall, he ordered. We must return to defend the homeworld. But it was already too late. On Kaz-Thrall Prime, Emperor Kaz-Thrall watched in disbelief as reports flooded in from across his empire. Military installations that had stood for centuries were being obliterated by human vessels that shouldn't exist. The humans were striking with surgical precision, specifically targeting military assets while avoiding civilian populations. How is this possible? He demanded of his advisors. Where did they get such a fleet? Such weapons? His chief intelligence officer had no answers. Your Radiance, All our information indicated their technology was far inferior to ours. They've hidden their true capabilities for decades. Why? The Emperor asked, more to himself than anyone else. Why would they pretend to be weak for so long? The answer came as a new communication signal chimed. Commander Wei's face appeared on the screen once more. Emperor Kaz, Phral, she began. By now you understand that your intelligence on Earth's military capabilities was woefully inadequate. The Emperor's rage bubbled over. You deceived the Confederacy. You registered false specifications with the Galactic Registry. Wei's expression didn't change. We registered our public defense fleet with the registry, yes. Project Prometheus was always kept separate, a contingency we hoped never to use. Why? The Emperor demanded. If you possessed such power all along, why hide it? Because we watched and learned. Wei replied simply. From the moment we joined the Confederacy, we observed how developing species were treated. Exploited, subjugated, or eliminated if they showed too much potential. We saw how the Xanthi were forced into vassalage when they developed quantum communication. We witnessed the peacekeeping intervention that reduced the Bilari to a pre-industrial state when they created their first eye. Her eyes hardened. So we played the role expected of us. We shared some technologies, held others back. We built our strength in secret while presenting a facade of compliance. We hoped that eventually we could reveal ourselves gradually and be accepted as equals. The Emperor's compound eyes narrowed. And now? Now we no longer care about being accepted, Wei stated flatly. You've demonstrated that the only language the Confederacy respects is power. So be it. The screen split to show multiple feeds from across Draveri space. The Emperor watched in horror as his empire's military might crumble before the human onslaught. Shipyards where the pride of the Imperial fleet had been constructed for millennia were reduced to floating debris. Military bases that had never known defeat fell in minutes. Your battle fleet is currently rushing back to defend your homeworld. Wei continued. They will arrive too late. But we have not fired a single shot at Kaz Prime, nor do we intend to, if you agree to our terms. The Emperor's mandibles clicked in fury. The Draveri do not surrender. We have ruled this sector for 3,000 years. And that reign ends today, Wei replied implacably. You have 1 hour to consider our terms. After that, we target your palace directly. The screen went dark, leaving the Emperor surrounded by his terrified court. Admiral Cato watched the tactical display with grim satisfaction. Across Draveri space, task forces Alpha through Epsilon were systematically dismantling the Empire's military infrastructure. Casualties among human forces were minimal. The dark energy weapons that Earth had developed in secret were proving devastatingly effective against Draveri shields and armor. Sir, Captain Rodriguez reported, the Draveri battle fleet has reversed course. They're heading back to Kaz Prime at maximum speed. Cato nodded. As expected. How long until they arrive? At their current velocity, approximately 6 hours. And our position? The Nemesis and Task Force Omega are holding position just outside weapons range of Kaz Prime. Their planetary defenses are fully activated, but they haven't fired. Cato studied the holographic representation of the Draveri homeworld. Unlike Helios Prime, which had been a peaceful colony with minimal defenses, Kaz Prime was heavily fortified. Orbital defense platforms, planetary shield generators, and ground-based weapon emplacements protected the homeworld of the mighty Draveri Empire. Under other circumstances, attacking such a fortress world would be suicide. But the Draveri had never faced weapons like those wielded by Project Prometheus. Status of their evacuation? Cato asked. Minimal movement detected, Rodriguez replied. It appears they don't believe we would actually attack their homeworld. Cato's expression hardened. Then they still don't understand what they've awakened. A communication alert sounded. Admiral, incoming transmission from the Confederacy Council. Cato raised an eyebrow in surprise. The Confederacy had maintained a studied neutrality since the conflict began, despite the Draveri's calls for intervention. On screen, he ordered. The elegant features of High Counselor Zeravan appeared. A member of the ancient Altarian species, her silver skin and luminous eyes gave her an ethereal appearance. "Admiral Kaido," she began, her voice melodious despite the gravity of the situation. "The Confederacy Council demands an immediate cessation of hostilities against the Draveri Empire." Kaido's expression remained neutral. "With respect, High Counselor, Earth is merely defending itself against an unprovoked attack that resulted in the deaths of 8 million human beings. The Council recognizes the regrettable incident at Helios Prime," Zeravan replied, carefully avoiding the word genocide. "However, your response is disproportionate and threatens the stability of the entire sector." Disproportionate. Kaido's voice was dangerously quiet. "High Counselor, the Draveri wiped out an entire colony world without warning or provocation. We are targeting only military installations, taking pains to avoid civilian casualties. How is that disproportionate?" Zeravan's luminous eyes narrowed slightly. "The scale of your military operation exceeds all registered capabilities for your species. The Confederacy is concerned about the implications." Now they came to the heart of the matter. It wasn't Earth's actions that concerned the Confederacy. It was the revelation of humanity's hidden strength. "I understand your concern," Kaido replied diplomatically. "Rest assured, Earth has no expansionist ambitions. We seek only justice for our dead and security for our future." "The Council proposes a negotiation," Zeravan continued. "Cease your attack, withdraw to your territory, and allow the Confederacy to mediate this dispute." Kaido allowed himself a small, bitter smile. "The same Confederacy that took no action when our colony was destroyed. The same Confederacy that has consistently favored established powers over developing species." Zeravan's silver features remained composed, but Kaido could see the calculation behind her eyes. The Confederacy was reassessing humanity's position in the galactic hierarchy, adjusting to the new reality of human military power. "We acknowledge that reforms may be necessary in Confederacy protocols," she conceded. "Earth's concerns will be given full consideration in the Council." "A generous offer," Kaido replied, "but one that comes too late. Earth will handle this matter directly with the Draveri. Once justice has been served, we will discuss our future relationship with the Confederacy." Before Zeravan could respond, another alert sounded. "Admiral," Rodriguez reported, "we're receiving a communication from Emperor Castrel." "It seems our time is up, High Counselor," Kaido said. "Earth will keep the Confederacy informed of developments." As Zeravan's image faded, replaced by the Emperor's iridescent visage, Kaido couldn't help but reflect on the irony. For 30 years, humanity had hidden its strength, hoping to be accepted as equals. Now, in revealing that strength, they had changed the equation forever. "Admiral Kaido," the Emperor began, his usual arrogance noticeably diminished. "I wish to discuss the terms, Commander, we mentioned." Kaido nodded. "I'm listening, Emperor." "The Draveri Empire is willing to offer reparations for the regrettable incident at Helios Prime," the Emperor stated, carefully avoiding any admission of wrongdoing. "We can provide territory, resources, and technology as compensation." "That is not sufficient," Kaido replied flatly. 8 million lives cannot be compensated with material goods." The Emperor's compound eyes flickered with frustration. "What, then, does Earth demand?" "Justice and security," Kaido answered. "Justice for those killed at Helios Prime, and security to ensure it never happens again." He activated a holographic display showing a document, the terms Earth had prepared. "First, those responsible for ordering the attack on Helios Prime will stand trial under Confederacy law for crimes against sentience." The Emperor's mandibles clicked in outrage. "You cannot demand." "Second," Kaido continued as if he hadn't heard, "the Draveri Empire will reduce its military to defensive capabilities only. All planet killer weapons and aggressive capital ships will be decommissioned under international supervision." "This is absurd," The Draveri have been a military power for millennia. Third, the Draveri Empire will support Earth's petition for full membership in the Confederacy Council, with all rights and privileges thereof. The Emperor's exoskeleton flushed deep purple with rage. You overreach, human. The Draveri Empire will never. Your empire is falling as we speak, Kaido interrupted, his voice deadly calm. Your military installations are being systematically destroyed. Your battle fleet will not reach your homeworld in time to prevent us from targeting your palace directly. He leaned forward slightly. Make no mistake, Emperor Kaz-Pral. We do not wish to destroy your civilization or harm your civilians, but we will have justice for our dead, and we will ensure that the Draveri never again have the capability to threaten humanity. The Emperor was silent for a long moment, the reality of his situation sinking in. His empire, which had stood for 3,000 years, had been brought to its knees in less than a day by a species they had dismissed as primitive. What assurance do we have that these demands will be the end of it? He finally asked. That once we are defenseless, you won't simply destroy us anyway. Unlike the Draveri, Kaido replied, humanity does not destroy those who cannot threaten us. We seek coexistence, not domination. Another long silence followed as the Emperor considered his options, all of them bad. We will need time to consider these terms, he finally said. Kaido nodded. You have 1 hour. After that, we target your military command centers on Kaz-Pral Prime. As the Emperor's image faded, Captain Rodriguez approached. Do you think they'll agree, sir? Kaido's weathered face showed no emotion. They have no choice. The question is whether they realize it in time. In the Imperial Palace on Kaz-Pral Prime, Emperor Kaz-Pral raged at his advisors. How did we not know? How did our intelligence fail so completely? His chief intelligence officer cowered before him. Your Radiance, the humans compartmentalized their knowledge perfectly. They showed us exactly what they wanted us to see. Outdated ships, limited weapons, deferential diplomats. Not once in 30 years did they reveal their true capabilities. And now they demand our surrender.